Today I'm going to show you the car behind me, the Lexus LC500h. I've never given any car this much uninterrupted beauty roll footage before, but this one is different. It's just that gorgeous. It's the kind of car that makes you find a cafe with parking right outside, grab a coffee, and just sit there admiring it. How it drives almost doesn't matter. What matters is the looks. So isn't it basically all show? Absolutely. So what? Being beautiful is a talent all by itself. This is a rental car. I actually wanted to rent it last year. Cars like this are just so rare. If you don't drive it now, who knows if you'll ever get another chance. So the moment I saw it was available, I booked it without hesitation. It rents for nearly 1,300 yuan a day. Honestly, for a sports car. In this class and size, that's not expensive. After all, it's a 2020 model. A 2020 Porsche 911 Carrera already rents for around 1,500 yuan a day in Shanghai. So this car is definitely worth renting for the experience. The previous renter was pretty wild. He rented it continuously for 10 months. With the monthly discount, you basically pay for 22 days each month, which is the discounted monthly rate. That's about 25,000 yuan. 10 months comes out to roughly 250,000 yuan. That's insane. That's why I could never rent this car last year. Apparently the renter is overseas now, so he temporarily returned it. When he gets back, he's renting it again. So while he's out of the country, I hurried up and rented it. Nice. Honestly, if I were him, I'd probably just buy a used one. Even if I drove it for a year and sold it, I wouldn't lose much money. Look at this car. It originally cost 1.15 million yuan. Now, 5 years later, it's still worth around 750,000 to 800,000 yuan used. That resale value is incredible. That's about a 65% to 66% value retention after 5 years. That's right up there with the 911. Lexus resale value really can go head-to-head with Porsche. So I really don't understand that renter's thinking. Maybe he's like Wang Duoyu in real life, renting absolutely everything. Alright, enough pretending. I'm officially a 10,000-aire. Alright, enough rambling. Let's get back to the car. I bet 99.99% of you have never driven a Lexus LC500h. So in this video, I'm going to go into as much detail as I can. That way you'll have something to brag about to your friends. Just say, oh yeah, I've driven one. It's nothing special. First off, the styling is flawless. It's basically a concept car you can actually drive. It really does look almost identical to the original Lexus LFLC concept. The concept looked stunning, and the production car still does. That's incredibly rare. But pulling off this design wasn't easy. The front end sits extremely low, so everything inside is tightly packaged. That's why the headlights are so tiny. Just 3 LED projectors, packed into an incredibly small space. Now, that's actually become a trend in modern headlights. They're getting more compact. It's kind of like those super slim squint-a headlights. But those don't always feel very artistic. This one, on the other hand, looks like art. This is the headlight washer. There's no dedicated button for it. Like other Lexus models, you first switch to high beams, then pull the wiper stalk, and it'll activate. Personally, I don't think this feature is really necessary anymore. Modern headlights are so bright that even with some mud on them, it barely affects visibility. So, I think it's mostly a tribute to traditional, old-money luxury cars. After all, a lot of Lexus buyers overseas are older, and honestly, this car suits older drivers too. I'll explain why later. Older buyers tend to appreciate this kind of design. The side profile is really clean. There's just one air vent. I think it's more for styling than function. The engine is up front, so it doesn't need cooling from here. And if you look closely, it's just a narrow slit by the wheel arch. You could say it's for brake cooling, but that doesn't really add up. As for how much it helps aerodynamics, I honestly don't know. Who cares? It looks amazing, and that's enough. Like a proper sports car. It has narrower tires up front, and wider tires in the rear. The fronts are 245/45 R20, and the rears are 275. At first, I actually thought the tires should have been even wider. This car weighs over 2 tons. A 911 is nearly 500 kilograms lighter, yet it runs wider tires. So I figured this one should too. But once I drove it, I realized it really doesn't need them. Fuel door. This one isn't picky. Regular 95 octane is fine. Very nice. Moving to the rear. It has dual exhaust outlets on each side. 2 over here. And 2 on the other side. Now let's check out the trunk. It's pretty small. The official capacity is 172 liters. That's even smaller than a Toyota GR86. So don't expect to pack a lot of stuff. I guess it fits. One standard carry-on suitcase, plus a regular-sized backpack beside it. That would pretty much fill it up. The reason it's so small is because the battery sits here. It's got a 1.1 kilowatt-hour battery, and the tops of the rear suspension take up space on both sides. That's why it doesn't look very deep. I'm not sure how it's laid out in the V8 LC, but this one's the hybrid, so the trunk has to be this small. Still, after looking at the diagrams, there doesn't seem to be much underneath. I'm not sure why the floor is so shallow. Let's see if it has a spare tire. Nope. Just some tools down here. So honestly, I'm not too impressed with the trunk space. It doesn't have a power trunk, but it does have this little grab handle. I actually like that. A lot of sports cars, including some I've reviewed before, don't have a handle here at all. You have to close it like this, and your hand ends up touching the dirty paint. So having this handle is a nice touch. Just pull it down like this, and it's closed. Alright, let's check out the interior. Starting with these hidden door handles. Just press it, and it pops out. There's a Lexus logo here. A subtle status symbol. The interior is really nice. Now take a look at the door panel. See how this part looks like it wasn't wiped clean? That's actually intentional. It's forged carbon, not woven carbon fiber. They used forged carbon throughout here. How much weight it saves doesn't really matter. What matters is making you feel like your money was well spent. If carbon fiber is only used inside the cabin, people just think it's decorative trim. But if you expose a little bit along the door edge, just enough to show it off, you might actually fool a few people. They might think the whole door is made of carbon fiber. It definitely creates a different impression, right? It's raining again outside. Perfect time to sit inside and show you the interior. Overall, it's really well done. Pretty much everything you touch is leather. It's just showing its age. The steering wheel has developed quite a shine. And this Alcantara over here. Especially this section, the fibers are starting to wear down. It almost feels like textured plastic now. You can barely feel the suede anymore. But the upper section is still in great shape. This part still looks brand new. You can tell by touch that it's still soft and plush. So this is what a 5-year-old Lexus LC with over 120,000 kilometers looks like. This opens the trunk. This opens the fuel door. And this adjusts the brightness of the instrument cluster. Watch this. Now it's set to the dimmest setting. Honestly, even at its dimmest, it's perfect for a gloomy day like this. And here's the start button. Down here is the parking brake. It's electronic, but it's tucked away pretty well. When you're driving, the steering wheel blocks it, so you barely notice it's there. The car automatically engages the parking brake anyway, so you'll hardly ever use this button. I really love this LFA-inspired gauge cluster. It has this metal ring. Or at least a metal look ring. See it? See it? That ring right there. Now when you press this button, something really cool happens. 1, 2, 3. It moves. Look at that. Now that's what I call theater and technology combined. There are two knobs on either side of the gauge cluster. Come to think of it, they kind of look like the Toyota logo, like the two horns on the Toyota emblem. See, Toyota's claiming ownership here. This is one of my cars. The left knob controls snow mode, and the stability control. Push it downward, and you'll see snow mode appear. Push it again, and it disappears. The knob only rotates downward. It doesn't rotate upward. There's also a button on the side. A quick press turns off TRC, which is basically a partial ESC defeat. But if you hold it, press and hold it, then both warning lights appear. Now the ESC off icon comes on. VSC is disabled, and the pre-collision safety system is turned off as well. So this is the car's purest driving mode. I don't really recommend it. I've tried it myself, especially in the rain. Even a normal launch with a little throttle will make the rear step out. And if you're in a corner, give it just a bit too much gas, and the car can lose control. It's definitely a bit risky. The right knob controls the drive modes. It rotates both up and down. Rotate it downward, and you get the more relaxed driving modes, like Comfort, and then Eco. Rotate it upward, and you get the more aggressive modes. Go up once, then again. Sport Plus. Wow, the display colors really look like the LFA, don't they? They're incredibly similar. I love it. You can also press the knob itself. Press it once, and it returns to normal. Press it again, and it switches to custom. That's the personalized mode. You can customize everything through the infotainment system. For the powertrain, you can choose normal, power, or eco. Basically quick, balanced, or efficient. That's how it works. You can also adjust the suspension. Sport, normal, or comfort. Once you see this, you'll know. The car has adaptive suspension. The climate control also has settings, just eco and normal. There are paddle shifters behind the steering wheel, but they don't feel like metal. More like plastic. Still, they feel pretty good. Over here, these are the buttons. This one cycles through the menus. The side menu, there are a lot of options. Here's the energy monitor. Once you're driving, it'll show battery charging and power flowing to the wheels, along with all the different operating modes. Let's keep looking. Energy recovery. There's also driving statistics, tire pressure. This one's just a blank screen. Some people don't want anything displayed here, so Lexus gives you that option. Here's the fuel economy. After driving it for 2 days, the best I managed was actually the absolute lowest. Wasn't 8 liters, it was 7.8, basically right around 8. Anything lower, like 6 or 7, is pretty much impossible. There's also the range. With a full tank, if you drive efficiently, it should be able to do over 800 kilometers, maybe even close to 900. Alright, there are a few more settings here, but that's pretty much everything. Now for the right side. These controls are mainly for cruise control and the audio system. Here's the mode button. Mode lets you switch between radio, Bluetooth, and the other audio sources. This button skips tracks. And these controls up here are for ACC. This car does have adaptive cruise control. But it's not what we call level 2 autonomous driving. It doesn't have lane centering. I think the newer LC models do. But this 2020 model doesn't. It only has a lane departure warning. And this adjusts the following distance. Your following distance. Whenever you want to use it. Every time you drive. You have to activate it again. For example, press this button. And it'll say, radar ready. Then press set. And your cruise speed is locked in. After that, you can adjust it. It doesn't remember your settings. Even if you turned it on this time. The next time, you shut the car off and restart it. You'll have to activate it again. Down here in the center are the climate control buttons. They feel fantastic. They almost feel like metal. Although they don't quite sound like metal when you tap them. Either way, they look incredibly premium, especially paired with all this leather trim. Big thumbs up. Down below, there's also a CD player. That really feels like a feature from another era. I don't think the newer LCs, the ones you can buy today, still come with it. But the 2020 model still does. As for the infotainment, it's not touchscreen. You have to use this touchpad. It's basically the same as other Lexus models from that era. There's also this analog clock. It looks very old school. It says Lexus on it. But I looked it up online. And apparently it's made by TAG Heuer. TAG Heuer is a pretty big name. They're always sponsoring Formula 1 and other racing events. So why not put TAG Heuer on the dial? Honestly, that would feel even more prestigious than just saying Lexus. This touchpad actually gives you haptic feedback. Look here. You can adjust the feedback strength. The higher the number, the stronger the feedback feels. You can also adjust cursor speed, multi-touch settings, and things like that. This is also where you control the climate, seat heating, and ventilation settings, because those controls aren't on the physical buttons. For example, you can only see the front seat ventilation, heating, and heated steering wheel options on the screen. You can also adjust the airflow direction here. Again, that's only available through the infotainment system. This infotainment system is really old school. It doesn't even have CarPlay. Instead, it has Baidu CarLife. What was Lexus thinking? As for complaints, I'll skip talking about the touchpad itself. Obviously, it's slower than today's touchscreens. But my bigger complaint is the quality feel. This rotary knob, it feels pretty plastic, and the outer edge is completely smooth. So, because it's so slippery, it doesn't give you much grip. Your fingers slip easily, and it feels kind of cheap. There's not much to say about the shifter. This is auto hold. It's a really useful feature. But it doesn't remember your setting. Every single time you start the car, you have to press it again. Otherwise, it's off by default. Kind of annoying. Also, if auto hold keeps the car stopped for more than 3 minutes, it flashes a warning icon before automatically applying the electronic parking brake. This is EV mode. Honestly, I don't find it very useful. The battery is tiny. It's almost never fully charged. So most of the time, you can't even use it. You press the button, and a second or two later it switches itself back off. So I don't really see the point of giving it a dedicated mode. A lot of LC reviews show an active rear spoiler switch here, but this base 2020 model doesn't have that feature. Storage space is just average. You can fit a can of soda here. and a bottle of water here. There's room for another bottle here too. But only one. So if the passenger wants a drink, they can't really reach this one. I guess there's a reason for that, since this divider is here. But they could have at least added another cup holder. Instead, there's just this little divider sticking up. Maybe it's for the key, with small items stored beside it. This opens up. Not bad. There are 2 power outlets here, plus an AUX port. The cigarette lighter is over here. Now let's check this out. Press this. This button opens the glove box. The glove box is decent enough. The seats are really comfortable. They're nice and thick, with great support. They really hug your body. The seat cushions are also quite long. Everything is power adjustable, including the steering wheel. It even has power lumbar support. The back seats are really just for kids or dogs. Space back there is really tight. And because the seat cushions are so long, there's basically no legroom left. It's tiny. This lever folds the seat back forward. Or you can use the button up front to slowly move the seat forward, if you want to torture your passenger by making them wait. Alright, enough talking. Let's hit the road and see how it drives. To keep this video shorter, when it comes to the driving experience, I'll keep it brief. Objectively speaking, the LC500h is still pretty quick. It does 0 to 60 in about 5 seconds. For a big Grand Tourer, that's genuinely respectable. The suspension absorbs bumps well, and body support is solid too. But here's the problem. The chassis lacks that premium refinement. Over rough roads, it still feels a little bouncy, almost like driving a Camry. The steering also isn't as communicative as the German cars. It feels more like a regular Toyota sedan, just with nicer materials. Overall, while it's good in almost every area, it's not a car that gets your adrenaline pumping. It doesn't really stir any excitement. It's more like a straight-A student who's a little shy. But Lexus clearly wanted to build a car with real sporting character. Unfortunately, I didn't find it especially fun to drive. Maybe Lexus realized that too, which is why they gave the LC500h an LFA-like exhaust note, to make it feel sportier. But that's like dressing. That shy straight-A student in a tracksuit. But deep down, it just isn't. After driving it for over an hour, I completely lost the urge to push it hard. Instead, I started treating it like a lowered Lexus luxury car. Whenever the road opened up, I'd just turn on the adaptive cruise control. To me, it's really just a luxury coupe wearing a supercar costume. When it comes to pure driving fun, it's honestly not even as enjoyable as the lighter, manual transmission GR86. Alright, I've arrived to return the car. Take a look over there. It's full of exotic sports cars. I only rented this car for 2 days, because it's a car that's better to look at than to drive. It's just not my type. That said, I absolutely love the styling. If I could look at it every day, I'd probably be in a better mood every morning. So if any of you own an LC, let me know. If you live close enough, maybe I'll stop by just to admire it. Or maybe one day, if I ever build my dream garage, I'll definitely park an LC in there, just to admire it as a work of art. That'd be enough for me. Alright, that's it for this video. See you in the next one. Bye.